Have you ever felt a subtle whisper from the universe, a quiet nudge suggesting there's more to this life than meets the eye? Imagine for a moment that you're standing on the precipice of understanding one of life's most profound enigmas. A secret whispered down through millennia by Buddhist masters, a truth so potent it could forever alter your perception of who you are and why you're here. This isn't about abstract philosophy, it's about you, and the possibility that your soul is on the cusp of an extraordinary milestone. We're talking about the cycle of reincarnations, that vast, turning wheel of existence known as samsara, where souls are born, live, die, and are reborn, gathering wisdom until they're ready to break free. But here's the electrifying part. What if there are unmistakable signs, not etched on your skin, but woven into the very fabric of your being? Your thoughts, your feelings, your deep-seated intuitions, indicating that your soul is living its final earthly chapter. If you've ever felt a sense of being wonderfully, perhaps bewilderingly different, or a profound disconnect from the everyday hustle that captivates most, then lean in closer. You might not have stumbled upon this by chance. This is an invitation to explore 9 powerful indicators that your soul is nearing its ultimate liberation, and the last one. It's a sign so rare, so potent, that recognizing it in yourself could be the most significant revelation of your life. Don't let this moment pass you by. The understanding you're about to gain could unlock a destiny you never knew awaited. Before we delve into these transformative signs, let's be clear. What you're about to discover isn't a collection of quaint superstitions or a checklist for idle curiosity. These are, in essence, spiritual codes, subtle yet profound markers that tend to surface only when a soul has journeyed countless times through the tapestry of life and is now approaching the completion of its earthly curriculum. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that nothing, absolutely nothing, is random. The life you're leading, the individuals who cross your path, the very challenges that shape you, all are threads in a grander design, a script your soul consented to before this current incarnation. So, when your soul begins to hint that its final performance is underway, these signals become increasingly hard to ignore. It often starts as a gentle, growing restlessness, a peculiar sensation of being an observer in a game whose rules no longer resonate, a feeling that you don't quite fit the familiar patterns that others embrace without a second thought. Perhaps you've experienced this, a strange perception that the relentless pursuit of money, status, or fleeting power feels hollow, almost artificial, as if you're watching the world play out a script and suddenly realize you're no longer auditioning for a part. This isn't a sign of melancholy or despair. Rather, it's the dawn of a profound awakening, the echo of your soul whispering that its earthly sojourn is drawing to a magnificent close. The very fact that you're here, seeking this specific understanding, is itself one of the earliest indicators that your soul is no longer tethered to the same repetitive cycles as many. Life has likely been sending you these subtle messages for far longer than you imagine, and now you're ready to truly listen. Prepare yourself, because we are about to unveil the 9 powerful signs passed down through generations of Buddhist insight that signal a soul is navigating its final existence on this earthly plane. As we explore each one, see which resonate deep within you, for the more you recognize, the more certain you can be that your current life holds a purpose far grander than the mundane cycle of birth, work, bills, and death. That's merely the surface. Your true mission dives infinitely deeper. And hold on to this thought, because a question few dare to ask, and even fewer masters answer with clarity, is: what truly happens after this final incarnation? When the soul finally breaks free from the chains of rebirth, where does it venture? What does it become? Is there a specific place, a state of being, a new dimension of consciousness? I promise you, if you journey with me to the end, we will explore exactly what ancient Buddhist teachings reveal about this ultimate destiny. What you're about to hear isn't just information, it's a spiritual key, one that might unlock memories and understandings that have lain dormant within your soul for centuries, perhaps even millennia. Once you truly grasp these signs, your perception of yourself and your place in the cosmos may be irrevocably transformed. The first sign, a deep detachment from material worldly pleasures. The very first sign often creeps in so subtly that many overlook it, or if they do notice, it can be quite startling. It's a profound and growing disconnection from the allure of material pleasures. This doesn't mean you suddenly reject the world or develop a disdain for life's comforts. Instead, it manifests as a quiet knowing that the things igniting passion and drive in most people, the relentless pursuit of more money, the craving for fame and status, the endless competition, the cycle of consumption, simply don't hold the same magnetic pull for you anymore. They begin to feel strangely empty, like an elaborate stage play without true substance. You might find yourself observing the rat race, the frantic chase for the newest car, the perfect house, or the trendiest attire, and feel a distinct lack of desire to participate. You can still navigate the world, work, and even possess things, but deep within, a fundamental understanding has taken root. None of these external acquisitions can provide genuine, lasting fulfillment. It's as if your soul, with its vast experience, looks upon these worldly pursuits and calmly declares, "This isn't what I'm truly seeking." This isn't born from arrogance or a sense of superiority. It's the natural outcome of spiritual evolution. While many are engrossed in crafting a life designed to impress others, to compete and to accumulate, souls bearing this first sign experience a quiet void when they attempt to fit into that system. They often ponder, why am I like this? Why don't I find joy in the same things that seem to define happiness for those around me? The answer lies in the soul's accumulated wisdom. It has already learned through countless experiences that no external gain can fill the space that only consciousness and inner peace can occupy. This detachment often cultivates a feeling of being slightly out of sync with the world, an attempt to connect and belong that doesn't quite land because you're observing the game from the periphery, no longer an active player. Yet this isn't a state of sadness or resignation, it's a dawning clarity, the initial loosening of the ties that once bound you to samsara. Intriguingly, as these old desires fade, new interests blossom. Your soul begins to yearn for spiritual knowledge, to explore meditative practices, to seek profound connections with nature, and to cherish silence and solitude. Activities that once might have seemed unexciting, being alone with your thoughts, reading profound texts, reflecting deeply, engaging with your inner world, now feel essential, like a homing beacon guiding you inward. This sign also brings a growing discomfort with superficial conversations, cacophonous environments, and the incessant human need to discuss consumption, engage in gossip, draw comparisons, revel in drama, or dwell on complaints. Such interactions become energetically draining, not because you feel superior, but because your spiritual vibration no longer resonates with these lower frequencies. Your soul is simply tuning into a different station, preparing for a much grander voyage. Once this sign truly manifests, there's often no turning back. The soul is gently, irrevocably untying the knots that anchored it here. And deep down, there's a growing awareness that this isn't a crisis or a bout of sadness, but the sweet, quiet whisper of liberation. The second sign, an aching hypersensitivity to the world's suffering. The second sign often emerges as a kind of poignant awakening, a hypersensitivity to the suffering that permeates our world. This isn't a fleeting empathy, it's a profound shift where, either suddenly or from a very young age, you begin to perceive the pain of people, animals, nature, and the planet with an almost unbearable clarity. It's more than just noticing, you feel it, as if the lines between your own heart and the heart of another have blurred, carrying this collective ache within you. Situations that might have previously gone unremarked, witnessing an act of cruelty towards an animal, hearing of a profound injustice, observing acts of violence, deceit, or greed, begin to impact you in a way that can feel almost paralyzing. It's as if your soul has shed its protective shields against the collective sorrow of existence. This isn't a sign of weakness or over-fragility. It's a testament to your spiritual evolution, an expanded sensitivity that comes with profound growth. Many people, still deeply engrossed in the common cycles of incarnation, can compartmentalize or ignore widespread suffering, especially if it doesn't directly touch their lives. But when your soul is in its last earthly sojourn, this capacity for detachment diminishes. You can no longer simply look away. The world's pain pierces through, and the suffering of another becomes, in a very real sense, your own. This profound empathy can at times feel isolating, pushing you to withdraw and making you question if you're perhaps too vulnerable or overly sensitive. What few realize is that this heightened sensitivity is, in fact, a profound spiritual gift. It's the soul demonstrating that it's no longer here to participate in the games of ego, indifference, or separation. It understands intuitively and deeply the interconnectedness of all beings, that the suffering of another was never truly separate from your own, that the world isn't a collection of me and them, but a vast, interconnected us. As heavy as this burden of feeling can sometimes seem, it is precisely this hypersensitivity that catalyzes a profound transformation within you. It ignites a powerful desire to help, to heal, to embrace, to protect. Even if you feel you lack the means or the tools, this intrinsic urge to alleviate suffering becomes a driving force. Your very presence begins to carry a healing energy, making an impact often without your conscious effort. You become, perhaps unknowingly, a beacon of light in a world still grappling with the shadows of ignorance. Simultaneously, this sign compels you to establish firm boundaries, because feeling everything so intensely all the time can be utterly draining. That's why individuals who embody this sign often find themselves naturally distancing from toxic environments and superficial relationships, particularly those with people operating from a frequency of ego, gossip, or relentless negativity. You feel an instinctual need to protect your energetic space, not out of fear, but from a place of wisdom, understanding that you cannot carry the weight of the entire world alone. The third sign, a persistent, profound feeling of not belonging. The third sign is what Buddhist masters often refer to as a constant, underlying feeling of not truly belonging to this world. This sensation often begins to manifest early in life, long before you have any conscious understanding of spirituality, karma, or the concept of reincarnation. It's as if, from your earliest memories, there's been a strange, sometimes uncomfortable, and often poignant awareness deep within you that this earthly realm isn't, and never quite has been, your true home. You make valiant efforts. You try to fit in, seek acceptance, adhere to societal norms, and attempt to live a life that mirrors those around you. Yet, beneath the surface, a persistent inner voice whispers, "I'm not really from here." This doesn't imply a rejection of the planet or a hatred for life itself. On the contrary, you may hold a deep love for nature, for animals, for moments of genuine connection, for silence, and for acts of kindness. However, you find yourself perplexed by and never fully understanding the intricate and often bewildering rules of the human game, the relentless competition, the pervasive ego, the insatiable greed, the endless conflicts, the wars, and the pervasive falsehoods. All of this can evoke a mixture of sadness and profound bewilderment. You might frequently wonder, why do people live this way? Why do they inflict pain, betray trust, destroy one another, and stray so far from their own intrinsic essence? The more you observe human society, the stronger this feeling of displacement can grow, as if you're an actor in a long-running play who has suddenly realized the script no longer makes any sense. This profound sense of not belonging often leads individuals to seek periods of isolation. This isn't driven by rejection or bitterness, but by an intuitive knowing that your true home lies elsewhere, on another plane of existence, in a different vibrational frequency, a state of consciousness far removed from this one. And this memory, which often presents as a silent, unwavering intuition, accompanies you through your days, like a gentle, constant whisper from your soul, reminding you, this is just the final stage. Hold on, you're almost home. This sign also manifests as a distinct discomfort with hollow social obligations, superficial conversations, and societal patterns that feel devoid of genuine meaning. Large parties, networking events, and gatherings centered around consumption, appearances, and social competition can feel utterly draining. While everyone else seems to be enjoying themselves, you might find yourself looking around and asking, "What am I doing here? Why doesn't this bring me the same sense of fulfillment it seems to offer others?" What's particularly curious is that alongside this feeling of not belonging, an incredibly deep connection to what is simple, true, and natural emerges with great strength. Silence becomes a balm, nature a sacred space for reconnection. The sound of water, the scent of damp earth after rain, the feel of the wind on your face, all these simple experiences bring a profound sense of peace that no bustling city, no luxurious possession, no material achievement can ever offer. The fourth sign, a natural aversion to conflict and confrontation. The fourth sign is something many people might try to rationalize or ignore, but when it truly takes root, its presence is undeniable. It manifests as a natural and deepening rejection of conflicts, arguments, disputes, and any form of energy that involves confrontation, competition, or emotional exhaustion. This aversion doesn't stem from weakness or cowardice. Rather, it arises from a heightened state of awareness and spiritual maturity. You come to realize that, unlike many around you, you simply no longer possess the inclination or the energetic reserves to compete, to constantly prove your worth, to justify your existence, or to engage in battles of will that, deep down, lead nowhere truly constructive. Family arguments that simmer with old resentments, workplace rivalries fueled by ego, the insidious spread of gossip and intrigue, the constant demands and competitions for dominance, all of these begin to feel not only draining, but profoundly pointless. Your soul, in its deepest core, recognizes that these clashes are almost always products of the ego, expressions of an immature consciousness still ensnared in the game of separation, the illusion of me against them. When this understanding solidifies, you find yourself automatically, almost instinctively, distancing yourself from such environments, people, and situations. This isn't an act of escape, it's a conscious act of protection, an expression of wisdom, and a form of spiritual self-care. Simultaneously, an almost irresistible desire emerges within you to maintain peace, to cultivate harmony in your surroundings, to calm turbulent environments, and to dissolve tensions wherever possible. You may find yourself, often without conscious intent, becoming the person who enters a room and subtly shifts its vibration, who brings a sense of calm to what was chaotic, who offers a compassionate ear when everyone else just wants to speak, who introduces light where most seem content to cast shadows. Frequently, this happens without you even noticing. It's your soul acting from a place far beyond your conscious intention, radiating its inherent peacefulness. However, it's important to acknowledge that this sign also carries its own set of challenges. The more you distance yourself from conflict, the more acutely you realize you can no longer tolerate environments and individuals who seem to exist permanently in a frequency of chaos and drama. This can, at times, lead to a degree of isolation, prompting you to choose solitude in your own space, surrounded by your own silence, not out of rejection of others, but from a profound need to preserve your vital energy and inner peace. This inherent rejection of conflict also cultivates a much more compassionate outlook. You begin to see that those who thrive on arguments, disputes, and aggression are, in reality, often deeply lost, wounded, and operating from a place of unconsciousness. This perception no longer sparks anger or frustration within you. Instead, it evokes compassion. The fifth sign, an irrepressible thirst for spiritual answers. The fifth sign heralds the emergence of an almost uncontrollable, deep-seated need to seek spiritual answers. This isn't a fleeting, casual curiosity, nor is it necessarily about adhering to a specific religion, dogma, or belonging to a particular group. Instead, it's a profound inner calling, a deep, urgent, and often anguished thirst to understand the fundamental questions of existence. Who am I really? Why am I here? What is the true meaning and purpose of this life? While a significant portion of humanity remains engrossed in solving material problems, building careers, accumulating possessions, or chasing social status, those who carry this fifth sign find that they simply cannot live on the surface of life anymore. It's as if the usual worldly pursuits have lost their flavor, their color, their inherent meaning. The soul begins to gently but persistently push you inward, urging you to look deeper, beyond what the physical eyes can perceive. This quest for understanding isn't always an easy or comfortable path. You might find yourself compulsively reading about spirituality, exploring concepts like life after death, reincarnation, the practice of meditation, the nature of consciousness, universal laws, the insights of quantum physics, and the wisdom of ancient traditions. And the more you discover, the more you realize the vastness of what you don't know, recognizing that existence itself is an infinite, unfolding mystery. Your soul, in its wisdom, understands it's here precisely to engage with this mystery, not to shy away from it. This profound spiritual thirst also makes you increasingly uncomfortable with anything shallow, superficial, or trivial. Empty conversations begin to grate on your nerves. Environments that are overly consumerist, materialistic, or vain can feel suffocating. You sense a deep, intrinsic need for something more, for silence, for genuine answers, for authentic connection. Consequently, you may find yourself increasingly drawn to solitude, not out of sadness or loneliness, but because you intuitively understand that the most crucial dialogue you need to engage in is the one between yourself and your own soul. And as you delve deeper into this inner search, a profound realization often dawns. The answers you seek were never truly outside of you. They weren't hidden solely in books, religions, or gurus. They were always present within, waiting to be discovered in moments of profound silence, during meditation, in quiet communion with nature, and in the simple yet powerful act of being fully present, conscious, and whole in the here and now. It is in these moments that everything begins to make sense, that the intricate game of existence starts to reveal its deeper patterns and purpose. The sixth sign, a crystal clear awareness of karmic law. The sixth sign emerges when you develop a profound and unshakable realization that everything happening in your life, absolutely everything, is a direct consequence of the choices, thoughts, actions, and vibrational frequencies you've been emitting, not just in this current lifetime, but across the vast expanse of all your existences. This perception ceases to be a mere intellectual theory or a pleasant philosophical idea. It becomes a palpable truth that you feel in your body, in your heart, in the very core of your soul. Suddenly, you begin to see the intricate movements of karma with astonishing clarity. The responses from the universe become almost instantaneous. You think a thought, and a corresponding event unfolds. You emanate a feeling, and life delivers a matching experience. You make a choice, and its consequence arrives, sometimes within hours or days, no longer taking years or decades to manifest. The time lag between cause and effect shrinks dramatically, as if the universe itself is acknowledging, you already understand how this operates. Now, there's no room for ignoring it. This profound understanding liberates you entirely from the victim mentality. You realize you were never truly a victim of anything. It was never simply bad luck, nor was it just good fortune, and certainly never divine punishment. It was, and always will be, a perfect reflection of what your own soul chose, created, and nurtured through its journey. This perception pulls you out of the disempowering role of a victim and places you, irreversibly, into the role of a conscious co-creator, fully responsible for your own journey. And that understanding changes absolutely everything. However, this heightened awareness can also bring a measure of pain, as it forces you to look back at all your past choices, mistakes, wounds, and painful experiences, and to understand that every single one, without exception, was necessary. Each was a lesson, a part of a spiritual contract, an opportunity for growth. There's no longer room for guilt or regret, only for acceptance, deep understanding, and a profound desire to act differently moving forward, to close cycles, to heal old wounds, and to clear the last vestiges of karma that might still be binding you to this earthly plane. From this point onward, you begin to live in a completely different way. Every word you speak, every thought you entertain, every action you take becomes sacred. You understand with unwavering clarity that everything you do, even the smallest gesture, reverberates through the invisible field of existence and inevitably returns to you, sometimes subtly, sometimes like a powerful wave. The seventh sign, an overwhelming urge to serve humanity. The seventh sign manifests as an uncontrollable, deeply felt desire to serve, to help, to ease the pain of others, and to make the world, even in some small way around you, a slightly better place. What's most remarkable about this urge is that it doesn't stem from a sense of obligation, a desire for social approval, or a need to be recognized. Instead, it arises as a natural, organic expansion of your own consciousness. It's as if, quite suddenly, you understand on a profound level that there's no longer any true meaning in living solely for yourself. You begin to realize that the acts of helping, healing, teaching, listening, supporting, and embracing, whether through grand, sweeping actions or small, everyday gestures, are in fact what your soul most deeply yearns to do. It doesn't matter if you don't possess vast resources, a public platform, or widespread fame. You come to understand that genuine service isn't measured by quantity or visibility, but by the presence, intention, and energy you bring to it. This powerful desire to serve is invariably accompanied by a profound shift in your personal values. Things that once seemed paramount, earning more money, achieving higher status, or simply being more in a worldly sense, begin to lose their importance. What truly fulfills you now is the knowledge that, in some way, you are bringing relief, clarity, peace, or comfort to someone, even if it's just one person, in one specific moment, on one particular day. That in itself becomes enough. And it brings a kind of deep, soul-level fulfillment that nothing in the material world ever could. What's most curious is that this desire to serve often emerges without a clear roadmap of how to do it. You may not know exactly what actions to take or where to begin, but you feel almost physically that your life needs to be useful for something greater than your own personal concerns. And then, little by little, the answers begin to unfold. Opportunities to help present themselves. People who need your unique gifts or perspective are drawn to you. Paths open up, often in unexpected ways. Because when the intention to serve is pure and heartfelt, the entire universe seems to conspire to allow your energy of service to manifest meaningfully in the world. This sign also makes you realize that you are no longer interested in competing, in proving anything to anyone, or in placing yourself above others. On the contrary, you feel a deep, abiding sense that we are all fundamentally equal, all suffering in our own ways, all learning, all trying, all failing at times, and all succeeding in others. This perspective makes you more humble, more empathetic, more available to others, not out of a sense of duty, but because that is the natural vibration of your evolving soul. The eighth sign, a profound and peaceful awareness of impermanence. The eighth sign emerges, often almost inexplicably, when you begin to develop a deep, abiding awareness of the impermanent nature of all things. You realize, with a clarity that permeates your entire being, that nothing in this world is fixed, nothing is guaranteed, and nothing is truly eternal in its current form. Everything that is born, grows, inevitably transforms, and eventually passes away. And here's the crucial distinction: this understanding doesn't frighten you. On the contrary, this profound perception of impermanence brings a sense of liberation. While most people live their lives fleeing the idea of change, desperately trying to avoid aging, loss, or the thought of death, those who carry this eighth sign simply understand naturally and intuitively that impermanence is the only constant, unyielding truth of physical existence. And with this profound acceptance, you stop clinging so desperately to things, people, and outcomes. You cease trying to control every aspect of your life. You stop fighting against the natural flow of existence, and finally, you begin to flow with it. This awareness changes absolutely everything about how you experience life. You start to genuinely value what truly matters: The breathtaking beauty of a sunset, the authenticity of a genuine smile, the warmth of a heartfelt hug, the depth of a meaningful conversation, the preciousness of a moment of shared silence, the evocative scent of rain on dry earth, the gentle caress of the wind. All these simple, fleeting experiences gain an immense importance because you understand deep in your bones that none of them will last forever. And precisely because of their transient nature, every single moment becomes sacred, a gift to be cherished. At the same time, you begin to master the art of letting go. You learn to release people who no longer wish to stay in your life, without bitterness or prolonged grief. You let go of expectations that only serve to cause suffering. You relinquish the need to always be right, to be constantly understood, or to be perpetually recognized by others. You let go of the illusion of control. You release attachments because you understand in the deepest recesses of your soul that everything that comes into your life comes to teach you something valuable, and everything that departs, departs because it has fulfilled its role in your journey. This profound perception of impermanence brings a quality of peace that most people find difficult to comprehend. The ninth sign, an unshakable inner peace regarding mortality. The ninth and often most profound sign emerges as an unshakable certainty, frequently without any discernible logical explanation, that you no longer fear death. Please note, this doesn't mean you harbor a desire to die or that you devalue the preciousness of life. On the contrary, it signifies that in the deepest recesses of your consciousness, you have come to understand with absolute clarity that death as an ultimate end never truly existed. In truth, it's merely a transition, a change of vibrational clothes, a sacred return to your true home. While the majority of people live their lives terrified by the idea of an ultimate end, actively fleeing from it, ignoring it, or avoiding any thought related to it, those who carry this powerful ninth sign simply accept mortality, not with sad resignation, but with a mature spiritual and liberating wisdom. You understand, on an intuitive and experiential level, that life and death are but two sides of the same eternal coin, and that your true essence, your consciousness, your soul, is eternal, unchangeable, and indestructible. This profound awareness completely transforms your relationship with everything in your existence. You stop living in a state of desperation to enjoy life at all costs, to consume endlessly, to chase after empty pleasures, or to constantly distract yourself in an effort to avoid contemplating the inevitable end of this physical form. Instead, you begin to live much more presently, more intensely, more authentically, because you know that every moment is unique and precious, and that life itself doesn't truly end. It simply changes form and continues its journey. Curiously, this sign brings with it a profound peace that most people can't even imagine is possible. It's a peace that doesn't originate from external circumstances, not from security, money, or the love of others. It emanates from deep within, from a silent, unwavering certainty etched into the very fabric of your soul that everything is in its right and perfect place, that everything follows the flawless flow of the universe, and that you are already inherently at peace with your own existence. This absence of fear allows you to live with a newfound lightness. You gracefully let go of the need for control. You release anxieties about the future. You relinquish the desperate need to hold on to people, things, or situations, because you know with every fiber of your being that everything is transitory, nothing is fixed. Everything that is born will one day return to its source, and this realization isn't sad. It's profoundly liberating. It is the hallmark of true spiritual freedom. Few people genuinely grasp the profound implications of being in one's final life, because this isn't an ending in the way we typically conceive of it. It's not about loneliness, nor is it about disappearing into nothingness. Quite the opposite. To be in the final life is, in fact, to reach the highest level of conscious expansion and integration that a soul can achieve within this particular universal framework. It's akin to crossing the ultimate finish line, concluding with honor, profound wisdom, and radiant light, a journey that has spanned hundreds, perhaps thousands, of individual existences. Buddhist masters explain that when the soul finally breaks free from the relentless wheel of samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, it doesn't simply vanish or fade away. Instead, it rises, it soars, it returns to the purest, freest, most potent state of being that a consciousness can experience. This is the moment when you cease to be a prisoner of the cycles of pain, attachment, fear, and illusion. And instead, you become pure freedom, pure expanding consciousness, a limitless being unfettered by boundaries, untouched by suffering. The soul doesn't disappear. It simply stops being conditioned by the limiting laws of matter, time, or physical space. It evolves into a being of pure light, possessing full awareness of its true identity, its cosmic origins, and its genuine purpose within the vastness of the cosmos. You are no longer a consciousness trapped within a physical body. You become an architect of the universe itself, a conscious creator, an active radiant spark within the infinite field of existence. And this state is not one of emptiness or absence. It is a state of absolute fullness, boundless expansion, and unmitigated potency. Imagine, if you can, living an existence devoid of pain, free from fear, untouched by lack, and unclouded by doubt. A state where there is no longer any separation between you and the entirety of creation, where suffering, anxiety, and need have dissolved. Your consciousness vibrates in pure, unconditional love, in profound peace and clarity, and in total, harmonious connection with everything that exists. At this elevated level, the soul no longer needs to reincarnate because it has transcended the necessity of learning through pain, attachment, or the limitations of physical experience. It becomes an agent of light, a force for healing, and a catalyst for transformation within the subtle planes of existence. It can choose to manifest if it wishes, perhaps to assist other consciousnesses still on their journey. It can act as a guide, a protector, or an instructor in higher realms of being. You begin to live in a state of cosmic service, motivated by unconditional love and dedicated to spiritual contribution on a grand scale. Nirvana, therefore, isn't an end. It is the magnificent crowning achievement of a soul that has successfully completed its mission in the realm of matter. It's the ultimate realization, the triumphant victory of consciousness over ignorance, over suffering, over illusion. It's crossing that final finish line with the absolute certainty that every pain endured, every life lived, every tear shed, and every challenge overcome was profoundly worth it, because it all led you here, to freedom, to the highest state of existence imaginable. And this profound awareness brings a feeling that no human language can ever fully describe. It is the true sensation of being home, of being utterly whole, complete, fulfilled, deeply at peace, and fully, unequivocally connected with the all, with the source, with the very essence of everything that exists. It's the moment when the soul stops searching, because it realizes with joyful clarity that it has always been, from the very beginning, everything it was ever seeking. If you've journeyed this far, if these words have resonated within you, that in itself speaks volumes about who you are. Most people drift through life, scarcely noticing these subtle yet profound signs. They may not wish to, preferring to remain on autopilot, caught in the surface currents of existence, seldom pausing to ask what they're truly doing here. But not you. You stayed, you listened, you felt. And that simple act already sets you apart, demonstrating that your soul is indeed operating at a vastly different stage, far more awake, infinitely more conscious, and undeniably closer to its ultimate liberation. So now, I ask you directly and sincerely, how many of these 9 signs did you feel stirring within you? How many resonated in the depths of your heart? Perhaps like ancient, half-forgotten memories whose origins you can't quite trace, but which nonetheless send shivers down your spine, move you deeply, and make you realize that on some profound level, you've always known these truths. Because that is the essence of it. Your soul already knows. It was merely waiting for your conscious mind to remember. Understand that none of this information reached you by mere chance. In this intricately interconnected universe, nothing happens by accident. If you are here, if these words have found their way to you, it's because there is a calling, a deep, resonant calling from the very core of your own being. It's a summons for you, from this day forward, to stop living on autopilot, to cease disconnecting from the magnificent truth of who you really are, and to finally begin honoring your unique journey, your sacred story, your profound mission. You are not here merely to pay bills, to work, to survive, and to passively wait for time to pass. You are here to conclude, to finalize, to bring this particular cycle to a close with conscious awareness, with honor, and with unwavering truth. You are here to clear the last vestiges of karma, to close the final contracts, to release the last remaining weights, and to finally, triumphantly, cross that finish line with your head held high, your soul light and free, and the certain knowledge that you are, at last, coming home. And what's most incredible is that you are not alone on this profound journey. There are many kindred spirits like you, ancient souls, old souls, wise souls scattered across the globe, who are awakening, who are feeling these same signs, who are remembering all at the same time that this life is indeed the last in this cycle, and that after it, there is no more pain, no more suffering, only boundless freedom, only radiant light, only absolute fullness. So, I invite you now to make a simple yet profoundly powerful gesture. Write in the comments below, "I felt the signs." Write it as a commitment to yourself, as an act of profound recognition, as a clear declaration to the universe, to your soul, and to your spirit. Let it be recorded that you noticed, that you recognized, that you remembered, and that from this day onward, you choose to live your final life consciously, intentionally, and in perfect alignment with the magnificent being you truly are. And if this message has touched your soul, opened your mind, or sparked something deep within you, then please give a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and share this video with those you feel might also need to hear these words. Here, we don't just talk about fleeting curiosities. We talk about enduring truth, about profound awakening, about expanding consciousness, about ultimate liberation. And if you wish to continue receiving content that nourishes your soul, this is your sanctuary. Because in the grand tapestry of existence, life was never truly about accumulating, never about competing, never about proving anything to anyone. Life always was and always will be about remembering who you truly are, about breaking free from illusion, and about finally, joyfully coming home. And if you've made it this far, know this: you are not at the end of the line. You are at the very beginning of your freest, lightest, most powerful, and most authentic existence. And that, dear friend, is just the start of your liberation.